Welcome to SVG TV News for Friday, November 25th, 2016. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela on Thursday evening, November 24th, observed 35 years of diplomatic ties between both countries. To commemorate this milestone, a ceremony was held at the Venezuela Embassy where persons got an overview of the bilateral ties between SVG and Venezuela. Nikita Tony has more in this report.
Formalized by the exchange of notes in 1981, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela have to this day shared 35 years of diplomatic relations. In celebration of this milestone, the Venezuelan Embassy and the Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation, Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias, SVG, hosted a ceremony on Thursday evening in commemoration of the continued friendship between both countries. Noting that a direct relationship without colonial mediations between both countries began in 1985, Venezuelan Ambassador to SVG Yuri Pimentel outlined various initiatives made possible through the collaborative efforts of SVG and Venezuela, which were and still are of benefit to Vincentians. He added that it is the hope of his government for the ties between both nations to grow stronger and be of even greater benefit to generations to come.
Although we have a lot to do and to move forward, we can safely say that at no other time in history have we had a relationship between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Venezuela as close and productive as the present one. Commander Chavez said, and President Maduro reiterated, our task is to build a closer and more integral relationship every day, with a view to the construction of the Caribbean homeland to which we belong.
Outlining that since taking office in 2001, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and then Venezuela President Hugo Chavez formed a bond which has aided in the enrichment of Vincentian lives. Acting Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sir Louis Straker expressed gratitude to the government and people of Venezuela. He further reiterated the ULP administration's commitment to stand firm and support the Bolivarian Republic.
Ambassador, we wish for you to convey to your country, your government, the great fondness that we have and gratitude that we have. I trust that this relationship would go on because there are many other projects that we are working on. We have the challenge of connectivity between our region and Venezuela. And we are looking forward to the day when we can have regular flights between the Caribbean and Venezuela.
Pointing out that in one way or the other, every Vincentian has been touched by the initiatives implemented through the diplomatic ties of SVG and Venezuela, President of the Venezuela Vincentian Friendship Association, VinVifa, Mike Brown, commended both nations for their exemplary display of solidarity and cooperation.
But who in here does not use labor gas? Who in here does not have a relative who has studied or studying in Venezuela, or benefited from the eye and medical program, or got free connections, some 2,000 houses, free connections, or the housing program, 140-something houses built? Who will not benefit from the airport, the international airport at Argyle, when it comes? So it touches all of us. It's not just government to government, Foreign Affairs Minister with Sir Louis, or Maduro with Ralph at that level. It penetrates and permeates right down to the smallest, poorest person in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The government and people of both Venezuela and SVG remain confident that the diplomatic relations will continue to strengthen in years to come. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG TV News.
His Royal Highness Prince Harry will be in SVG tomorrow, Saturday, November 26, 2016, for an official visit. The Prince is expected to arrive here at the cruise ship terminal at around 8 in the morning and will visit several landmarks across the country. As his focus on his whirlwind tour is on global initiatives such as climate change and conservation, as well as youth development, the Prince is also expected to unveil the final of 4 dedications to the Queen's Commonwealth canopy at the Botanical Gardens, after which he will travel to the Vermont Nature Trail. His Royal Highness will also visit the Connery Beach to learn more about the country's initiatives which inspire young people through education in schools to care about and protect the endangered population of sea turtles on St. Vincent's shores. Following a recent announcement from the Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, declaring it illegal to catch or kill sea turtles or disturb their nests in St. Vincent, Prince Harry will hear directly from the local school children about the various conservation projects they're involved in to help preserve these endangered animals. This is the Prince's second official visit to the Caribbean following his first tour in 2012 when His Royal Highness represented Her Majesty during the Diamond Jubilee. The Prince's visit in SVG will end with a special reception at the cruise ship terminal, which will be attended by the Governor-General, His Excellency Sir Frederick Ballantyne, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, and other government officials. Sunday will be a traveling day for the Prince, and the 5th country he will visit will be Grenada on Monday, November 28th. A call for change is being echoed by the National Council of Women in commemoration of International Day to End Violence Against Women. Representative of the National Council of Women, Brenda Oliver, said the recent surge in crime here is alarming and further condemns any form of violence against women here in SVG.
One will just take a look at the recent murders that we have had. And I will applaud our neighbors, our villagers, for the stand that they had taken to catch that murderer. I applaud them very much. The National Council has stand solidly against violence in any form, especially those of our women and girls.
Oliver urged Vincentians to be united in the fight against crime and violence, stating that the responsibility of safety falls on every individual.
We have to stand in one accord to help catch the perpetrators of violence. We are not helping the police, but we are just helping each other, being each other's keeper, being each other, being brothers and sisters to one another. It is our duty to be each other's keeper. And by doing so, by speaking out when you see wrong, by taking a stand when there's a need to, we will help curb violence in our land.
General Secretary of the ruling Unity Labour Party, Julian Francis, is of the view that there will be what he describes as bacchanal in the NDP if MP for Central Kingstown Major St. Clair Leacock is elected as the president of the opposition New Democratic Party. On radio earlier this week, Francis says it is clear that Leacock does not support Dr. Godwin Friday for the leadership position of the NDP, and if Leacock becomes president, there will be confusion.
But surely they're begging for confusion.
Exactly.
If you go now, you have decided on your leader of the opposition. Leacock has come out clearly. What Leacock has said, basically, he support Friday. He felt that he should have been the man.
Exactly.
And as far as he's concerned, in the presidency, he is going to contest the presidency. Now, if you have Leacock, could you imagine Leacock getting elected as president, and Friday being leader of the opposition? You must have bacchanal.
Bacchanalic joke.
Because Leacock will not support Friday as leader of the opposition in the House of Parliament, and there will be individual positions as usual.
Francis added that Eustace should have delayed his resignation to allow for the party's convention, where a new president and opposition leader could have been selected.
So you have two elected parliamentarians in the House of Parliament. One is leader of the opposition and the other is the leader of the party, is the president of the party. Wouldn't it have been wiser to have done it, delay your resignation to accommodate the convention? In other words, you make your announcement you are resigning as president of the New Democratic Party. We will have the convention to elect a new president, and then the elected members of parliament will then elect who they want, who they will support as leader of the opposition, if they are not happy with the person who has been elected as president of the party. It will create it will have reduced some conflict.
During his final speech as opposition leader and president of the NDP at Democrat House earlier this week, Eustace pointed out that it is through his firm belief of democracy that hundreds of persons are now able to have a say in the selection of the party leadership, and that he holds dear the views of the people and so awaits their decision as to who will be the party's next leader. Eustace said no matter the outcome of Sunday's election, the mandate of the NDP will always be to serve the people of SVG. Local barrister at law and playwright Cecil Blazer Williams last evening launched his new publication, A String of Radicals. The event saw a collaboration of performances and live reading of excerpts from the book, which highlights issues such as the Black Liberation Movement as it relates to the Caribbean, specifically focusing on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Williams expressed his gratitude to everyone who played a role in the production of the publication, which was well received by those in attendance. This is Williams' second historical novel, his first being Memories of the Hibiscus. The Ministry of Agriculture will be working with the peoples and farmers of the Prince Edward Islands to bring the innovative farming technique known as embryo transfer to SVG. This was announced by Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar as he spoke while visiting a dairy farm in the Canadian province as part of his ministry's plan to boost the productivity of dairy products in SVG. Caesar said the visit has yielded some success in terms of knowledge gained on the innovative technique of embryo transfer.
We have started to work with the government and people of Jamaica and Cuba on a national artificial insemination program. We have now in St. Vincent and the Grenadines 200 straws of semen for Jamaica Hope, Black Pole and Red Pole. However, since I got here to Prince Edward Islands, I was able to meet with several owners who have identified to me that it is very important that we take it another step to embryo transfer.
The Agriculture Minister said the Vincentian farmers here at home will soon have the opportunity to learn more about the embryo transfer technique and its capacity.
For young Vincentians to come and work alongside persons here in Prince Edward Island to learn milk production and to have a technology transfer to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I really want to thank you very much for having us, and we look forward to sending some of our nationals here to be employed and to learn the process. Thank you.
One of the dairy farmers in Canada whom the Agriculture Minister met explained the many benefits of the embryo transfer technique.
Embryo transfer is the quickest way to improve your herd. You can use one of a lower quality animal, genetic animal, and implant her with a high quality, a high genetic cow, her embryo, and that lower genetic cow calf, she'll have a calf that is probably 10 generations ahead of what the donor or the recipient was. So you can quickly increase the quality and the genetic base in your herd tenfold.
How much more expensive is?
Not a whole lot. Like if you consider an average straw semen is maybe $50. You can buy embryos for, well, it's $500, which seems like quite a bit more, but you're coming ahead so fast, it's well worth the cost of the embryo.
30 participants from CARIFORUM countries will gather here from next week for 2 training courses in fisheries, food safety and associated laboratory operations organized by the fisheries component of the EU-sponsored Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures, or SPS, Program of Assistance to the CARIFORUM region, or the SPS project. The course will be attended by participants from Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, the Commonwealth of Dominica, the Dominican Republic, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and host SVG. The fisheries sector is important for many countries in the region as a source of employment and export revenues. Overall, in 2015, the CARIFORUM countries exported fish worth $378 million to many countries around the world. The project, capacity building of regulatory and industry stakeholders in aquaculture and fisheries health and food safety to meet the SPS requirements of international trade, is implemented by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation in Agriculture. The objective of the project is to build capacities of CARIFORUM states in health and food safety requirements of fisheries and aquaculture or inland marine products, and as such ensure safe food standards for fisheries products in the region while meeting the requirements of the region's trading partners worldwide. The courses are being held at the Beachcombers Hotel from Monday, November 28th through December 9th. A school feeding program is critical to a healthy nation. That's the view of Deputy Chief Agricultural Officer and the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO correspondent, Renato Gums, as he spoke earlier this week at the launch of a school feeding pilot project. Gums noted that the FAO is committed to the elimination of hunger across the Caribbean and added that such a program is critical to this objective. Gums called on stakeholders to ensure that this project is sustainable and thanked the Brazilian government for their support.
The program is very critical to a healthy nation. Now, it may sound simple, but you might not think of it this way, but it's these kids that are going to provide our health care, which some of us like me might need very soon. So we have to ensure that they're healthy, and in order to be healthy, they must be well fed. Finally, the thing I would like to say is that I hope that we do not come back 5 years down the road trying to do a similar program. These programs ought to be sustainable because it takes resources and it's someone else's tax money that is contributing to what is going on here. So we must make every effort to make sure it's well used. And I must commend the Brazilian government to in partnering with FAO to make sure that this program is rolled out and successful.
Also speaking at the launch was Joycelyn Blake Brown, the Senior Education Officer for Primary Schools, who noted that the program will bring tremendous benefits not just to the children, but to farmers and the nation. She also expressed confidence that the performance of students who take part in the program would be improved.
Being lifelong learners from very early stages, they will develop healthy eating habits. So that's a way of sustaining the program as well, because eventually these students will grow up to be adults. And the fact that they already have acquired the taste for locally grown products, the market will be there. Our farmers, you will have ready markets, because we know from time to time you struggle in finding markets for your produce. So we are very happy. As was mentioned by Mrs. Our nutritionist, our chief nutritionist, the health benefits of healthy diets and eating. We know as teachers, we want our students to be very alert, very active. We don't want them to be always tired and sleepy and hungry. So the fact that we are now strengthening the school feeding program, we are hoping that learning outcomes will be improved. So we look forward to this.
Brown also thanked the Brazilian government for its support and called on the participants to ensure that the project is a success.